We're back with another episode of the Randy Wilson podcast. I'm your host, Randy Wilson. This is episode 114. I got Cool Boy Jeff with me today. We're going to
Yes,
chop it
sir.
up with him. It's blog culture. We focusing on blog culture. I've never had a blog as a guest. And so I think today is like a podcast because obviously I'll be, asking Jeff some questions. And a lot of my shows are very interview format. But when you can like sit down and talk with another blogger or a I'm not a blogger, you know what I'm saying? But if you talk to a blogger or a podcaster, like these are the conversations I often like that. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? No script, no narrative. We're gonna tap in with Jeff to see what's cool for real.
Mhm.
Thank you guys for tuning in with this episode, being powered through Spin 100 FM, the heavy hitter DJ Lonnie B. Appreciate him continuing to host the space for the show. And we're going to get right on into it. Jeff, what's good?
Man, ain't not much, man. It's a beautiful Saturday. It's kind of chilly outside, but staying cool as always, man. Just giving praise to Almighty, man. Can't complain at all.
The Wave 804 blog has been around since 2017.
Yes, sir.
Virginia interview blog for Urban Entertainment. I remember watching from the beginning, and that's part of uh, what contributed to my interest in having this show. Man, you put in the work, you put in the time, you've been committed, you've been consistent, and let's just start right there. Like, why? You know what I'm saying? What's been the I guess the inspiration and the motivation to do it for so long?
That's a good question. So I did go to Virginia Union University. I graduated in 2018. My major was mass communications and broadcast journalism. Um, I always love watching Sports Center, all those group talk shows where they discuss so much, even like Rap City too. So Big Tigger was one of my favorite people to follow, even when I was younger. But I always knew what I wanted to do. I always wanted to speak on camera, and then to have a conversation with the guests and just build chemistry and not feeling like an interview. So as you said earlier, make them feel comfortable. They tell their story. We know that the media, they paint their own story, but I give an opportunity to those who I'm interviewing to tell their story. And it's been a dope 7 years. Let me see what we in 2023. So May 20th. I think it's supposed to be 6 or 7 years, but I think it's 6 years. But I just love doing what I do, and I feel like it's a form of giving back. So helping those, giving those an opportunity to see from a different light, and don't know where people come from, man. So you provide those opportunities, and they got a different alternative to do. So everybody just needs a shot and something. So that's how I got involved with it.
Congratulations to you, man, for consistency, for determination, for being persistent, for making sure that those stories are getting told. Um, it's definitely been enjoyable to watch your journey. And Virginia Union, that's the space you was in, I guess, when the inspiration came together. Again, I think this is going to be I think it's going to be a really good episode, particularly for people who like are connected with podcasts and bloggers, because um, we oftentimes are like facilitating the conversation, and you and I both do this, on camera alone. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of times, it's always about someone else. You know what I'm saying? I'm really excited to be able to kind of help people get familiar with you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're usually the person helping other people get familiar with someone else. And then again, it's just interesting to always bounce off perspectives because I'm interested in what your perspective is on a lot of things within our culture. And
Mm-hmm.
I want to start right there. Um, I want you to talk a bit about blog culture.
Mm-hmm.
Blog culture, Richmond, uh, Virginia, and as a region as well. Let's just kind of have a conversation around that. Let's start in the city.
Mm-hmm.
You are one of the most visible blogs in the city.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I don't like to, I don't really. Well, why not? Yeah, let's use names. Let's use names because that's what platforms are for, right? You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? That's the whole reason why I think people do what they do a lot of times. They create a platform, they create an opportunity, and your platform is one of those blogs that, at least for me, you know what I'm saying? I think because it's been consistent, and
Mm-hmm.
I think early on, I mean, I just remember certain episodes I saw people on, and you've been a person who's put me on an artist. I've learned artists. I think the interview you got with Rio like several years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, to me, that stands out because Rio is not an artist. I'm talking about Rio. You know, if you in Richmond, you know who Rio is. I
Mm-hmm.
just don't see Rio as. I tried to talk with him. I don't think I've heard back, man. I don't get the impression that Rio is really interested in having a lot of conversation on podcasts, and you know what I'm saying. You got Rio.
Mm-hmm.
Um, was that a good how was that? What was that conversation like? Because I don't. Am I wrong? Rio don't got a lot of interviews.
Yeah, yeah,
What was
yeah.
that
So,
conversation like for you?
so it was pretty good, man. And how the way the interview started, I was going to Virginia Union at the time, and I had did an interview in the clubhouse at Spectrum right across the street. So I think he's from Jackson Wood, Gilpin Court
Yep.
area. So he had what's that young man that had a song about the white slaves? Trap Boy something, the one with the afro that beat with Rio. I forgot what his name was, but he was with him
Hmm.
too. And
Hmm.
soon as Rio came in there, he let me know, like, hey man, I don't have a lot of time. I got things I gotta do, so we're gonna do this interview.
Yeah.
I said, okay. We did an interview. He actually wanted me to ask thorough questions instead of being around the bush. So I honored that. And then, you know what I'm saying, that chemistry right there where he was just letting things be known from the good and the bad. And as far as like, you know, what happens when you live a certain life. And, you know, unfortunately for him, you know what I'm saying, his not to say too much, but it was a male figure that wasn't there for him. But just saying how that does affect the young man or the young girl that is missing a male role model in the household. But as far as that he learned from what he learned from his community. And I think currently right now he's locked up, but hopefully he can be able to come home, you know, and do and you know what I'm saying, stay disciplined on his
Yeah.
music. But it's one of the
Rio had the street. Rio had the club. Rio was probably he is that artist in the city. And
mhm.
that was one of the interviews in your past. Going back to culture, like how do you see blog culture right now in the city? What's your view on blog culture right now in the city, which you're obviously highly involved in?
So I do see a lot more bloggers and pages that does promotion. It does a similar thing that we do. So I feel like that, you know, we created that opportunity and lane for many different pages like RVA News Culture, Murder Inc., Viral Virginia. It's a lot of them that's out there. But you know, the one thing I like about all of us is we support each other. We never bashed each other, never disrespected each other or do things just to get attention. You know what I'm saying? So I like the all around respect versus how rappers do in the city. You know, they go at each other, so on and so forth. But I like how that we bridge the gap for people to come on and get their video posted on the story. I know RVA News Culture was doing interviews, you know what I'm saying, on the side of myself and you too. But I just really love where it's going. I see a lot more activity. Even like some of the spots that hold artist events is getting bigger too. Because I know at the time it was like one or two, but now it's like three, four, and five, including studios and certain shops that they had. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely shout out all the blogs. If you will, man, I just think it's clip worthy. I think it's noteworthy. Go ahead and shout out the blogs right now. I mean, I do see a lot of camaraderie, and
Mm-hmm.
I also benefit from that as well. I also feed in because you share that energy with me. Like you always willing to reshare, repost, like, and I try to get that same energy back because if we don't do it, if we don't do it, the artist's probably not gonna. The artists don't typically do it for us. Let's just
Right.
be real. Let's just be real. Like I think this. I hope this bothers somebody. Like blogs, podcasts, you know, DJs, whomever. You know what I'm saying? Content creators create, content around, and the music is the soundtrack to the culture. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And we contribute in our own unique ways, but they don't often come back. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Like I don't. I think that if artists, particular, I think if artists kind of re-engaged us
Mhm.
as much, or am I being biased? Let me just stop. Am I being biased? What do you think?
Nah, man, you're not being fired at all, man.
Like this bullshit. Let's just be honest. Ain't nobody giving us love, man. Where the love at?
Nah, man, it's with the love, man. And again, I tell artists all the time, like, if you're really serious about your future and what you're trying to do with yourself, you got to be able to invest. Like, as far as like you and myself, we had to put in X amount of dollars, what I'm saying, whatever situation we was in, but we made sure we invested into our future, and that's why we still holding up to this day. But as far as like those artists, like promotion and marketing and get your name out here at different places, what I'm saying, a lot of times I feel like they get that we only perform opportunities for just Virginia, but we also have people outside the state that's looking for the same opportunity. And you want to be able to cross brand so everybody can be able to get to know each other. But I don't think that a lot of artists, I don't even think artists have managers, to be honest with you. And then if they do have managers, they're not well equipped to understand about business, like what is basically good for the artist and what's bad for the artist. You know what I'm saying? And they kind of take that as they don't take it seriously. But even though you have certain bloggers that do things outside the state of Virginia is getting more traction, I know for a fact that myself, RVA news coach, you always preach that, you take care of your home team, because if we go away, who are you really going to have? And, of course, it's going to be somebody that's going to rebrand and do something else. But I feel like at the time when you building relationships with other people and from somebody starting versus who've been in the game for a long time, you know, you got to do what's best for you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, opportunities do happen, but you got to be able to make the right decision. And if you're not too invested in your dream and what you're trying to get to, then it's like, respectfully, don't waste our time,
Yeah,
because you got things you got to do with different artists.
yeah. Sometimes I feel like I hear obviously we all love the culture from the culture for the culture, right? So it's not a
Mhm.
he versus me or them and they. It ain't none of that. We not really trying to identify ourselves any differently than the
Mhm.
artists. I think sometimes artists dismiss that what you just said, the time that content creators put in, the time,
Mhm.
the money, and so much of that goes without any compensation.
Mhm.
Okay. Really, let's just be real. Doesn't come with any compensation for a long time, unless you're just super savvy with it. And
Mhm.
it's no different than the artist from a music standpoint. Yeah, I know, I get it. You've had to spend some time in the studio. Yeah, I get it. You've had to live. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? You've had to
Mhm.
experience some things to create your music. Hopefully you have. Hopefully it's
Right.
come through experience. And we get it, but we all in the same space. You know what I'm saying? We just gotta be it's got to continue to be more complimentary of each other. And so
Mhm.
shout out to you and RBA News Culture
Thank
for
you.
doing that. Uh, the other blogs that you mentioned, was it Murder? Mention the other ones for me.
Murder Inc. Richmond, Vira,
Yeah.
Virginia, Room 804. Um, all those. If I'm missing a couple, I apologize. But those are the ones that came to me right then and there.
Yeah. Love to
But
them.
yeah, man, shout out to them too. You know what I'm saying? And also the type of content that's posted. You got some people who's just doing interviews for artists or multiple people who has a profession or they trying to get somewhere. Then you have like Room 804, they post crimes and stuff like that and so on and so forth. And yeah, man, shout out to those content creators who know how to create content and draw people in and for people to be aware of what's going on in our backyard.
Yeah, man. This is the Randy Wilson podcast. You can find this podcast everywhere podcasts are played. Go over to Instagram. You can check me out there, YouTube, everywhere.
Mhm.
Um, Cool Boy Jeff. Um, So when have you guys as bloggers thought about coming to the table and doing a podcast, a city podcast, like an episode? Because a
Um,
lot of times bloggers stay out of the way. Like bloggers create the content, but they keep their face, they keep their face tucked a lot of times. You know
right,
what I'm
right, right.
saying? Y'all don't want that. Is that too much? Would that be too much smoke if all y'all came to the table? Because that'd be a
Yeah.
lot of smoke, man. That could be a
Uh,
Richmond viral moment, really. Someone got to capture that.
yeah. I don't really have a problem with it, and I don't do anything out of my way to disrespect or offend others. And then if so, I've never known about it. And if
Yeah,
so, people wake up with different feelings every day. But when it comes to the culture and doing something bigger for the not only the city but the state, I'm all with it, man. Just got to make sure everybody else is on the same page, and we don't want to remove anybody who is a part of the culture, but don't want to do something like that. So, I mean, anyway, man, I'm all for it. You know what I'm saying? We all got a job to do, and we're responsible for our job. So, I wouldn't mind.
Gotcha, that would be dope, man. Talk about so when we look at blog culture from a state standpoint,
Mhm.
do you feel like we have state camaraderie?
We do. For
Mhm.
some odd reason, like I guess it's just who we are, um, and where we come from. That we don't sit here and put our heads together and make music, so on and so forth. Some people do, some people don't. But I feel like if we really work together, we'll be unstoppable, and everybody can still do their thing. But it takes for the people to appreciate these media outlets and what they're doing versus like you not paying homage or doing what's required to get you in a certain place. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a big gap between us and between us and those who want to work with us, but either don't have the funds or not too much knowledgeable. So it's a lot of camaraderie, but if people really realize what we're here for and we preach this every day, it just takes for the right people to get on board and make things happen that other people else is going to follow right behind us. Mm-hmm.
I feel like you make yourself very accessible for artists when it comes to like doing interviews.
Mm-hmm.
My question is why? To some, and from the standpoint, I mean, is it all about? I don't mean this to be I don't mean this to be rude. So when I say why, is it? I mean, do you charge every get? Do you charge every person or no?
Every person, no. So if there's like celebrities and stuff like that I come in contact with, you know what I'm saying? I do let them know as far as my fee, but I just know there is an opportunity. But as
Mhm.
far as like being stationary in the state of Virginia and also in the area, people want interviews and they book me, you know what I'm saying? They're booking. So you're paying for service, you know what I'm saying?
Gotcha. So
So,
that's how you. Okay, I got you. So
yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah. So
how. That's so you cool with that? I think that's where I'm a little. That's where I'm not at really. I mean, like I like to. I think it's hard. I'm, I'm just not interested in having conversations with people if I don't have enough of a foundation to have a good
hmm
conversation. I
hmm
think I mean they need to be hot in some capacity. You know what I'm saying? Or I need to have some type of admiration for what they do.
hmm
Otherwise, because like when people hit me up, and I think because we're talking about this, maybe some of those people understand it. When people hit me up, they be like, "Yo, hey, how much for your show?" It's like,
hmm
I mean, if I was sitting out here trying to make money, then I'd throw everybody a price, I guess. But then I might not enjoy that content. And right now, it's important for me to like care about the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Everyone might have $5, $10, but everybody ain't got a conversation. But
hmm
everybody got an audience. And so then I feel like if I do this conversation, I gotta find a way to
hmm
distribute that. And that ain't always easy. So like that's my answer to those people. Like I don't want to interview anybody if I ain't got a foundation
Right.
of something. But you, on the other hand, if if they hit the cash app the right way, you're gonna be a journalist.
Right, right. And then even with that, like the artist or whoever I'm interviewing has to have some type of substance, and what they're doing is on the rise and whatnot. Now, I don't do interviews for everybody because I feel like sometimes like people do things because it's easy instead of them doing what they need to do. But for those who do have substance or whatever, it's always a good interview. So I don't really trip on that.
Yo, Jeff, I want you to answer this question from two different angles.
Hmm
Uh, I want you to speak to like where your ear is right now on the street. You know what I'm saying? In regard to, I'm talking about, I want to know like who's coming, who you see coming,
hmm
who who's there, all right?
hmm
And then I also want you to speak to like what is one of your moments since you've been blogging that's kind of like the moment that probably stands out to you the most that you appreciate and value the most.
All right, I got you. So the artists that I see coming, and again, excuse me for those who I do not say, but you know what I'm saying. If you're doing your thing, you're on your way anyway. But you got Blue Pesos, straight out of Hopewell, Virginia. He got some good music, content, everything's good. Shout out to him. You got Ace 1K, you know what I'm saying, straight from Richmond. You know what I'm saying? He's doing his thing. And he got a lot of content. I just did an interview with him recently, probably like 2, 3 weeks ago, but he's really dope. Let me see who else I got. We got Go26. He's hard too. Got a lot of content, got a lot of music. You know what I'm saying? And these are people who I have a foundation with, and again, having that substance because I see where they go and they put the work in, so on and so forth. And those
Real
people
quick,
really gonna go to.
real quick. So before you move off of them, what is your criteria? Like, what is the criteria that you're weighting these folks up? Because you said, and we giving them a time. You know what I'm saying? Because they're coming. You see them coming. What are you gauging that on? Like, what are they doing? Outside, I'm assuming it's music and what other things?
Let me see. I do take the time to go visit to their studio sessions, you know, see they listen to their music, build a chemistry, and you know what I'm saying, just take the time to get to know these people. And I feel like it's important as an interviewer. You can't do no interviews if you don't know what you're talking about. We can talk about things all day, but if
Yeah,
we don't have a I guess either a mind frame of what I'm going to talk about as far as your business or even writing it down, you know what I'm saying? Because I want the questions I'm asking you with these answers, they got to stick out, you know what I'm saying? Because you draw
yeah,
more and more people to your brand and so forth. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it too.
yeah, yeah. We on the same page with that. I think that you probably said that a little better than I did. That's kind of where I'm at with these folks when I get the DM and I'm like, dude, you don't even follow me.
Right, right.
I mean, and maybe that's being sensitive and personal a little bit. Maybe I just feel like I'm not the type of platform where if you dropping a project, and then you trying to make a round. I'm not the guy for that
Right.
because not to mean that I won't be for the right person, the right project. But if we don't know each other, I can't be because I don't know your music. I need to know your music, and that's my answer. Like, yo, let me get familiar with you. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like, let me get familiar with you. Um, because then I can decide like, do I rock with this project?
Mm-hmm.
Do I not rock with this project? It's a lot easier to have a conversation with someone about a project when you rock with it and you like it. Otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be upfront. I'll be lying to people like, yeah, this shit. I don't want to lie. I mean, I don't want to keep
Yeah.
lying. I don't want to keep lying. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
yo, so shout out the young homies one more time. The three that you said.
Oh yeah, shout out to Blue Peso, shout out to Ace 1K, shout out to my boy Go26.
All right, I'm definitely appreciate you putting me on because I don't know if I'm familiar now. I'm gonna go do my
Yeah,
homework and
I'll share their pages to you, big dog.
appreciate that. All
Yes,
right,
sir.
who's hot? Who's hot right now? Like who's hot to you right now?
Who's hot to me? Blue Pesos, man. Been putting in that energy, traveling, doing big things. He engaged, you know what I'm saying? I feel like there's certain situations that happens in his life, you know, he's able to put that on paper, but also to the music for people to gravitate to. You know what I'm saying? I feel like there's a lot of people who rap about things that they really don't live, but with him, you know what I'm saying? He's speaking his truth, you know what I'm saying? As far as each other knowing each other. But that man is definitely hot, hot, big hot.
Yo, yo. So how many like when it comes to hip hop rap in the city? Like how many different mediums do you think we have here? Right? I mean, like how many subcultures do you think we have in the city? You said blue peso.
Yes, sir.
I don't know. I mean, I don't even know if I know who that is, man. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. But my
Hmm.
question is, how many subcultures do we have in the city? I'm gonna look and see. I might. Don't get me wrong. I might. I mean, I follow people and I don't know who they are, so I might.
Right,
But
right.
how many subcultures? Because we could ask that question to someone else right now, and they'd say the hottest artist in the 804 right now is Fresh Porter. That's what some people would say that. Some
Hmm.
people would say like, speak to your artist. I mean, a lot of people would say someone else. Like I know
Yeah.
people right now that would say that Ty Sorrell. Do you know him?
Not off the top of my head. I know
High
faces
Point.
versus names.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of people who find, if you look at RVA Mag, they're gonna say something completely different.
Hmm.
They're gonna say something completely different than probably the city, to be real. You know what I'm saying? So, like, but we're still a small city though. Like, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
we got a lot of hot music, we got a lot of hot artists. Um, I guess the question is more better like, what are you looking for in an artist? Like, what makes them on your number? What makes them hot on your list?
The authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
The songs that they make, I get tired of hearing about this person being shot, this person being murdered, because a lot of times you speaking things out into existence that has negative or positive energy, and it comes back to you. So a lot of times I be kind of worried about energy because energy is a real thing. Spirituality is a real thing.
Yeah,
So if a person's out there talking about committing crimes, doing this and this, 9 times out of 10, I probably want to do an interview with them. You know what I'm saying? And also how their character is. Because people they make music, you don't know who their personal character is until you really get to know it. So I do value that at the same time. But for those artists, you know what I'm saying, as far as the mediums, it's basically about who you know and who recommends you to go to anybody, whether it's me, you,
yeah,
RVA News Culture, whatever case may be. People
yeah,
only know as far as like what they see, and a lot of times
yeah,
that comes in with the sharing and letting people know who you are in the case may be. Because as an interviewer, you can only do so much. You post,
yeah.
if people don't see it, people don't see it. But if they do, they do. So I just try to take things with no expectation because I don't have any
Yeah.
expectation when it comes to people. So I don't set myself up for disappointments and all the other good stuff. But it's based on their character, man.
Yeah, you know something you said, me and one of my friends were talking the other day. So you know the song by DJ Khaled, God Did with Hove,
Mm-hmm.
Rick Ross and Lil Wayne, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think they performing at the Grammys tomorrow night, actually.
Okay.
Um, that song is up for at least three different Grammys. And
What?
so Hove has a 8 nominate verse, right? And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people, you know, depending on who you listening to, a lot of people say that that was like one of the best verses of the year because it was Hove and it was a long verse, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I had someone, and if he watches the interview, he'll know who he is. I had someone say to me the other day that, I really rock with the Wayne verse more. And I hadn't heard that. I was like, well, why would you rock with the Wayne verse more than the Hove verse? Like, well, I'm curious. You know what I'm saying? Wayne's verse
Mm-hmm.
was 2.5 minutes. Hove went 8.5 minutes and went crazy. Like, he's like, but he was like, yo, man, I mean, for real, as much as I love this hip hop, man, I'm in a place in my life right now where I'm really trying, you know what I'm saying, to be a Christian. It's like,
Right.
and he said that 8.5 minutes, even though Hov went crazy with the bars, it's like stuff he was talking about to me was the 8.5 minutes of why we've always loved Hov. Don't get me wrong, but in that 2.5 minutes, the stuff Wayne said was like 2.5 minutes of some real stuff. And I was like, yo,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I'm sitting over here in my sin. I didn't even think about it like I didn't even think about it like that. I didn't even think about like that those verses even being compared. Like, why would we even compare Wayne and Ho's verse? You know what I'm saying? But say that, man, just because there's obviously some good brothers out there today still like you trying to build the culture. You don't really hear a lot of people talk about values and morals and things, man. I mean, bloggers, podcasters, we're trying to create content. We're trying to get a rise. We're trying to get attention. We're trying to get a like, a look, a view. And you got morals with your stuff, man. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I proud of you, man. It's good to
Thank
hear.
you.
Are you originally you originally from Hopewell?
Yes. Well, originally I was born in Petersburg, Virginia, at the old Southside Regional Hospital before they knocked it down. There, I grew up in Hopewell.
I thought so because I feel like seeing you shoot out of Hopewell like when this thing got going.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like I always thought that. All right, man. So we spoke on the who's coming, we spoke on who's hot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, give me the moment in your blog history, your blog career that's like just one of those moments that really stick out to you. Like
Stand out.
if you had, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, if it's like if you're on the Breakfast Club and they say, man, like what was your moment that you look back on and you're like, yo,
I got you. The my favorite moment is when Sue Surf came to the Broadberry, and this had to be 2017 or 2018. But he was running late. and I had gotten in contact with his manager. And one of the guys, I forgot his name. I think his name is Tony. He actually put me on with the event, gave me an opportunity. And we was at the Broadberry, and I was in the green room with all the artists, everybody who come do performances. And it was a bunch of people from Richmond who that said proclaim them as like the hardest rappers and so on and so forth, and not to take anything away from him. But when Sue Surf and his crew came, his bodyguard had cleared the whole room. And what was amazing was that I never seen an entrance of an artist or a rapper in general just come in, and the energy was just so like spot on. And then I had the camera phone at the time of the tripod, and he had one of my favorite freestyles on I-95, which was the I Love You by Mary J. Blige instrumental. And he actually pulled me to the side. He asked me who I was, what I was doing. I told him who I was, what I was doing. And, what I'm saying, we had a good conversation before he went on stage. Then he went on stage. I recorded his performance of that freestyle, which is on my YouTube page. And afterwards, what I'm saying, I wanted to get a quick interview, and he was real respectful about it. And then, we had a good conversation about the battle he had with Geechee Gotti, I think. And he was just giving me some advice, what I'm saying, basically coming out there and doing what I do best and a lot of stuff. So that right there really helped shape me that, okay, I know it is possible. Or, hey, I am doing this in the right direction. Because I think Jim Jones said himself, like, what I'm saying, when you lose motivation, you got to stay consistent. But when you stay consistent, you'll find your motivation. So I just stayed with it, man. And that there helped me out to this day.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. That's
Mm-hmm.
what's up, man. Yo,
Mm-hmm.
you do a lot of interviews, man. Is it equally as comfortable being the recipient for you?
As far as being interviewed,
Yeah.
I try to, man. A lot of times I reach out to people in their platforms as far as getting me on. I don't know if they have a long wait or they have too many people, but I do
Mhm.
reach out and I don't hear anything back. But I do get blessed that I do have certain people that interview me, like yourself. Shout out to DJ B Sounds. Um, Let me see who else. Who else I've been interviewed by? Um, I'm trying to think. Shout out to 804 Podcast. They interviewed me. And that's really about it, man. So I'm looking at 3 interviews, well, that I've been interviewed, and I'm looking at 100 plus interviews that I did with other people. So hopefully my time is coming where a lot of people get to interview me, talk about my brand, my upbringing, and all that good stuff soon. So I don't
Yeah,
too
I
much,
mean,
man.
it's important, man. I mean, that's why I want to have I want to have conversations that matter. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like bloggers and podcasters are, content creators are pretty much the narrators for the town. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like our conversation matters, you know what I'm saying? And just sitting here and listening to you, uh, I enjoy your stuff, man. It's entertaining to me, you know what I'm saying?
Thank
But I
you.
mean, I think when I do episodes and I talk to people, I'm always trying to get like beneath the layer and like
Mm-hmm.
to see like who's the person. I think it's very
Mm-hmm.
apparent, you know what I'm saying, that you're an entertaining guy, but like you're very grounded.
Right.
I don't know if I would have just came in, I wouldn't come into a conversation assuming that
Right.
if you don't have a conversation, you can kind of fill someone out. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what contributed to this? Like, what contributed to your foundation? I mean, like, old people would say, I guess the boy was raised.
Mm-hmm. It was raised right.
That's just what it is, huh? The boy was raised right, huh?
Yes, sir. I was raised, man, with 2 parents. I'm not a street N word. I'm not hood, not none of that. But I have had experiences with those type of people. And one thing I learned between, a person like myself and those people that are in the street, there's a lot of productiveness, but where you mostly spend your time into and the energy into, that's who you're going to become. So
Yeah.
a lot of time I put energy into my schoolwork. I have family, have love in my family. What I'm saying? I had that support and I had that drive because, I always wanted to be something. And of course, I don't get locked into, like, I love Virginia. This is my home, this is where I'm from. But you don't really grow until you stretch out and go other places. Like how they say, you're a big fish in a small pond, but if you go into the ocean, see if you're a whale. So I've been to other places, DC, Atlanta, the Bronx, what I'm saying? Shout out to Bronx native. Like I've been to so many places and this having the access of networking to so many people and see where I am now and to see those colleagues that I met that I still talk to this day, man, like that's the biggest thing. And I try to explain to people like you only see yourself going as far as you take yourself. So I don't know, man. It's not on you, it's in you. I tell a lot of people that, if you want it bad, you're gonna show it. So
You say it's not on you, it's in you?
it's not on you, it's in you.
That's a word. That's a word right there. That's a word.
Mm-hmm.
Was you an athlete coming up? You play sports? Did you do anything like that?
I did,
Or just
man.
was
I
your creative?
played football, played
Mm-hmm.
basketball, played baseball. I was very athletic. I played. Uh, I was going to join the VUU football team in college. I did make the
Mm-hmm.
team, but once I seen how it's a whole different ball game from high school to college. You got to really
Mm-hmm.
dedicate yourself to everything that they want you to. Practice film, practice again. Then you got to do your homework, everything else, and wake up at 4:20, 4:25 for practice. And then once you practice, you got to go straight to breakfast. You don't know if you got class at 8, 9. So that's a lot of stuff that goes into it. But I did make sure I wanted to do something that I was going to fully love instead of just half-ass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Football is my favorite sport because it taught me how to be physical, competition, and to really know your plays, how you plan it, and your strategy. So I did apply that to my business, and going into it now, man, I'm still here. So I'm using those personal ethics that I learned coming up as an athlete to apply it to what I got going on. So I'm thankful, man, because I just don't know what I'll be doing
Mm-hmm.
at this moment. And then, of course, I'm a father too, so I have a 2-year-old son that needs me in his life. And having a father there, a male role model, is important, especially like me losing my father and having a child that they still keeps my momentum going because I have somebody who look up to me. I have brothers that look up to me. I have a mom that depends on me. So a lot of things I put on myself that I keep myself going. I may get tired, I may do this and that, but I don't quit. So
Yeah.
I stand my ground as much as I can.
Yeah. Yeah. You are you familiar with Zucast?
Who was that?
Zuri? Zucast.
Two tap?
Zoo. Z is in
Nah,
zebra.
nah, nah, nah. I ain't familiar with that person.
Check that out, man. You're gonna see a younger version of yourself in him. I can't believe you don't know who that is. I can't believe you
Nah, man,
don't.
you gotta share me his profile, man, so I can check
Oh,
him.
he's a younger version of you, man. He's at BCU.
Mm-hmm.
It's Zuri the artist is one of his pages, but is Zoo World Media. You and him, you need to check him out. That's probably that'd be the best collaboration connection. That'd be interesting. We'll talk about that offline though.
I got you.
We'll talk about it offline. Um, yo, man, we in like February, Black History Month.
Mhm.
Um, is there anything that you do around your platform? You have any intentions around your platform for this month?
Yes, sir. We have the internet, so
Mm-hmm.
there's no it's there's no excuses why I can't post and put things
Mm-hmm.
out there that's been
Mm-hmm.
contributing to our culture for many,
Mm-hmm.
many years. Not just only Black History, like the history books, but also for people that's around the area. You know what I'm saying? Because we're
Mm-hmm.
coming in a new age of people that's taking leadership and showing multiple people different things to have financial stability, um, have a leadership type of mindset, showing values and principles. And there's a lot of people who come from certain situations that put them in a space to where they are and they're very successful. And we need to know about these people because you know what I'm saying. I think we throw titles to people too loosely. We can't just be telling people things and there's no action or no respect behind it. So for those individuals who's doing it around the area, and it's not just Virginia, it's from a lot of people who I connected with out of other states and cities. But it's a lot of people that's out there, man, that's doing their job and they don't get the credit. But with me giving back and putting those people out there, that is like putting them out there. So I mean, sharing those people, man, those people are some really good people. And yeah, man.
Yeah, that's dope, man. It's black. We black every day, obviously. You know what I'm saying? So, I tend to think that we are in the present making history every day because we're
Hmm.
overcoming obstacles. We're trailblazing. Like we are. It's in us. That's really. But this month that is highlighted. I think as content creators, let's just even be that much more intentional to at least be like empowering, uplifting, positive. Um, Again, a lot of things that we do is entertaining, but it's an
Hmm.
opportunity for us to educate, you know. Uh, Edutain is what my guy told me last night. He liked to edutain. He liked to edutain at the same time.
Gotcha.
So yeah, before we get rapid fire, man, with you being a blogger, I gotta just talk to you about like current events. Like
Hmm.
um you see in order to blog, you have to consume a lot of stuff. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? You're constantly consuming stuff. You probably are a little bit better on top of the current events than most people on the average.
Hmm.
Like I'm gonna start one, but I want you to kind of just give me what you feel like with current, urban hip hop culture, like things
Okay.
that's standing out to you right now. But one thing for me is Kyrie Irving. Uh, have you heard about his current situation with the Brooklyn Nets?
Getting traded.
Well, he requested a trade before Thursday. Before Thursday. And this morning I heard some perspective on it, like which I think what he's trying to do is that he's pretty much trying to lock Brooklyn down and saying that look, I want a long-term contract. I want the bag. I'm
Right.
playing well. I'm playing well. And if you don't give me the bag, then I'm threatening to not stay with you at the end of the season because I'm gonna be a free agent.
Right.
And I don't think Brooklyn's stupid. I don't think they're gonna just let him go without making an offer. I don't know what they're gonna do, but some critics are saying it's stupid and he's very selfish because they want to see him, they want to see him play a whole season. He's only played 50% of his time since he's been there and
Yeah.
see what happens. And, let's be successful. I think some people wondering what does Katie think about all this? What's your take on this, man?
Hey man, basketball is basketball, man. It don't pay my rent. It don't help me with nothing in life. Like, it's I understand people get so caught up in sports and people love sports. I love sports too. But you gotta think about it, man. What about my 2 cents is gonna help me in my situation or help this man? There's billions of people, and we don't know what's going on behind closed doors and why this man want to request the trade. We already seen what happened with the whole talking about the movie, you know what I'm saying, and what he had to go through to get there. So it might be some stuff that he's thinking about and made him led to that decision. But my question to those people who feel upset is, what are we doing to make sure that this man feel comfortable, or what support does he has from us that can make him stay there, or just by all means to support that man's decision on whatever you want to do. Now it's a different time versus like back in the 90s and the 80s. You didn't have people jumping from team to team. Michael Jordan, he ain't do all that. The only team he went to was the Wizards, and that was later on in the years.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it's just so much going on, and it's a lot of money going around. And then of course, it's scripts. Everybody go buy a script. Every sports team, industry, like we know this. Like, the as far as example, and I'm gonna get back to Kyrie with the DeMar Hamlin situation, right? Me
Mm-hmm.
personally, I feel like the man is dead. If you seen what happened when the Bills played, when it was snowing outside or whatever, who was that
Mm-hmm.
man we seen on the camera? That was not him. And if you see the back, as far as like him going there and how they carted him in the golf cart, his face was covered up the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, like come on, man. Like, we gotta understand this is media.
Yeah.
Media is the biggest perception. All right. And I
Yeah.
think not Martin. Malcolm X said it. Like, that's the biggest platform that shows a perception of
Mm-hmm.
something, and they
Mm-hmm.
control the masses. So,
Mm-hmm.
what do we think people gonna believe? You know what I'm saying? So, with this
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie Irving thing, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors, and I don't
Yeah.
think his decision is going to affect our livelihood because we got things we got to do too as people.
Do
So,
you think this is affecting his relationship with Kevin Durant?
We don't know how his relationship is with
Man,
Katie.
this is an example of talking to somebody media trained though. Like you ain't giving a personal perspective by any means. You still journaling. No, of course we don't. Of course
Right.
you don't. You looking at it like this, man. They not feeding my pocket. I don't give a shit. That's basically your angle.
That's
We're gonna
true.
talk about it. I'm gonna talk around it, but at the end of the day, you're right. Nobody really knows.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? What contribute, and I don't know if that went over some people's head. Like, I think what contributes to making bloggers good journalists is knowing how to like speak to the perspective, speak to the angle, speak to the issue without being so emotionally attached. And
Right. Right.
that's basically what you just did. And
Right.
is there anything in urban culture that's standing out to you else? You spoke to the Damar Hamlin. What else is like catching you on when you're doing this right here, right? This is what we do now. We
Right.
we what are you catching?
Right. Man, I just it's a lot of stuff that's going on in the media, and with the Nichols situation and the cops that brutally beat this man, and also the ambulance. That's another story. And then the police chief that ordered these guys. That's another situation. And then the young man who actually was upset because the young man had dated an ex-girlfriend, and the guy who killed him, officer, had did something to him. He had previous history of criminal acts, and he still was a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
So as a black man, we're caught in a mean headlock, man. In a mean headlock.
Yeah, we are.
And I feel like, it's not taken away from the women, but as a black man, it's not suicidal, but you just don't know, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like, again, if us as a people is going to start making changes, we got to start within ourselves. A lot of things we put out there is because of us, and we blame other races for our situations. And then a lot of times people don't understand their history, back in the days in the 40s and 50s, you know what I'm saying? You had the Renaissance, you had the Black Wall Street. We had black people who owned land, who had land. And then we seen out of the history books what they took out. We was robbed of our land and a lot of stuff that happened. So again, the white again, Malcolm X, man, he said again, if you want to hide a secret from a black man, put it in the book, because we know his ass ain't gonna read. I said that last one myself, but that's what Malcolm said. So a lot of times we're blessed with a lot of knowledge, but people don't take control of it. Like back in the day, a lot of times people had to figure it out, had to find it out. It's a lot about networking, and a lot of opportunities wasn't concurrent back in those days, but now it is. But a lot of people are lazier, they dumb down.
Yeah,
there's just a lot of stuff that goes into it, bro.
Yeah, I mean, we're not really forced to think that much anymore because of Google and the power that we have in our hands. You used to have to know directions to get places. Like we don't even know how to get around anymore without navigation systems. So interesting perspectives, man. As we close and do rapid fire, Jeff, I'd ask seven random impulsive questions that I typically ask the same questions, but I might not. I'm not thinking, and I don't really want you to think a lot either. I just want you to impulsively respond, kind of give your quickest answer to, okay?
Okay.
Chicken or fish?
Chicken.
All right. Young Jeff, all right. Young Jeff. I know you got, you sound are you a family man, Jeff? Are you
I am a
married?
family.
Are you in a relationship?
I am not. I'm single as a Pringle.
So the DM's open?
It is open.
All right,
it is open.
The phone's
Look,
freezing up.
if she come through, she gotta have some sense, big dog.
All right, hold on one second. We got to capture that again because the internet glitched. I want to make sure I ask, So is the DM open?
The DMs are open. The DMs are open.
What's the criteria here? I mean, is there some criteria?
Man, gotta have some sense, man. Gotta have some substance. You gotta have something going on for yourself. And also, just because you look good doesn't mean that you mean good to me.
Yeah. Okay. You got to smell good?
Yes, sir.
She got to? I mean, she got to.
Yeah, good hygiene, take care of yourself. Got a
I
good
mean,
head
but
on
what
your
if she be
shoulder.
in the gym what if she be in the gym all the time and
Oh
like,
yeah,
I mean,
oh yeah.
but she ain't got a man, so she cutting the grass, and sometimes she might just skip a day with a shower because she tired. Is that okay?
Well, she better make sure she get in that shower, or I'm gonna help her get in that shower. You better go
All
ahead
right,
and
man.
wash up.
All right, just making sure. All right, man. Titties or ass?
Ass.
Okay. All
I'm
right.
ass.
You got got it.
Yeah.
Okay. When you were young Jeff, you know what I'm saying? Who was your celebrity childhood crush?
Nia Long, bro.
Yeah.
Nia Long. And when I seen
Hey,
Friday, I see how the way she look. I'm like, oh my god, who is this?
yeah. How you feel about her now? She outside
Uh,
again.
she living her best life. And I seen when J. Cole had said something about her at one of his songs, she responded. And
Yeah.
she would have gave him a try, but of course he's in a relationship. But
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? I look like she like the young guys who got a good head on the shoulder. So I ain't
Yeah,
tripping.
we saw on the red carpet with Omarion and Terrence J, and people just was obviously loving to talk about that. Um, who's your football team?
The Washington football team with Commanders.
Man, yeah, I heard somebody the other day call them the Commodores. They I don't know if they meant to do that or not.
Yeah, man.
How'd you feel about the season?
The season again scripted. I mean, it's just a lot of stuff that goes into it, man. I just let football be football, man. It's out of my control, but it would have been nice for us to go to the playoffs, but politics.
Who your basketball team?
The Celtics.
Uh, wow. I mean, what? I'm a Laker fan and a Charlotte Hornet fan, but I'm just curious, like, whatever initially was it? KG, Paul Pierce, like, what was it? Was it before
The
that?
well, actually, the big four, if you want to say Rondo, Paul
Ronda,
Pierce,
yeah.
KG, and Ray Allen. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Like
what it
that
was
was
for you.
the yeah.
And you never roll with LeBron?
Never. I mean, I like LeBron as an athlete, but that's not like
Mm,
my go-to.
got you. Okay. All right, man. Um, the city is shifting. This would you agree? Is the city shifting, or do you think we're shifting upward? Do you think we kind of at a plateau? Like, where do you feel like we are right now in this moment? If you could just sum it up really, really simple.
Um, I feel like it's getting there. It's just taking its time. We need a
Mm-hmm.
little redirection and some structure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we on our way, but we got to be conscious of the things that we do when we say. But as far as that, we'll be
Yeah.
good to go.
Oh, being from Hopewell, do you rock with Dopewell Corey?
Yeah, I do. I
Yeah,
do.
I got put on to him recently, and not recent. I mean, I've known who he is, but his name keep coming up around me a lot more.
Mhm.
And I know he's from Hopewell too. Um, who's somebody that you think I should have on the show that you think would be a good interview?
You can have, of course, Blue Pesos, Ace 1K, GL26, Voss Money, Fetty Dior. Let me see, LNF Tone. Um, Let me see, Keith Black, have him on. Uh, that's all the ones that comes to mind at this moment. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
appreciate you
those.
dropping those names. Appreciate you
Oh yeah,
dropping those
yeah, yeah,
names,
man.
man.
I always show love, bro.
Tag me in something, or so I can become more familiar. I might not be.
Got you.
I struggle sometimes with like I struggle watching a lot of stuff. I do. I really do. Like sometimes I try to manage how much I'm looking at because I won't really capture it. I probably could get some like social media management to some degree with learning how to manage it. If I don't move it over to an email, I might miss it. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get you to put me on some game. But Jeff, man, cool boy Jeff, let them know where they can find you, bro.
Hey man, y'all make sure y'all find me on all social media platforms. The Wave 804. You already know what it is. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Also my personal Schoolboy Jeff _3. That's my personal on there. But man, y'all make sure y'all check out, man. I'm gonna be posting some stuff so y'all can be able to see who's coming.
Appreciate you coming on the show, Jeff. For all those who's tuning into this episode, who are not familiar with me, you can find me pretty much everywhere podcasts are played. You can go to randywilsonpodcast.com, subscribe to the YouTube page. and help us build this interview up. It's Cool Boy Jeff. This is the Randy Wilson Podcast. Power through Spin 100 FM, and we out.